friends, and welcome back to my channel for another sit down video. Today's video is going to be the long-awaited military spouse tag. Now this is really popular on YouTube. If you search it in the search bar, you'll see a ton of other spouses who have created this video, and so I figured it was about time, considering I have created lots of other military style videos, that I just complete this tag. So without further ado, let's get into it. I do have my phone next to me. It is a 25 question tag. So bear with me if I'm glancing down, it's because I'm reading a question. So let's go. So question 1 is, where did you and your spouse meet? So we met in Washington. I'm born and raised in Washington, and my husband was stationed out of Bangor, Washington. So we met. We actually are like the new age digital story of like how people meet. We met on a dating app. So if you want to hear that story, leave me a comment below and I can do a video on how we met, or a husband tag video. Moving on to question 2, how old were you when you met? So I was 22 and my husband was 26 years old. How long have you been together? So this married, we've been together 2 years, going on 3 in September, but dating wise, this end of March will be 4 years. How long are you and your spouse, or where are you and your spouse originally from? Like I was saying before, I'm from Washington State. My husband is originally from New Braunfels, Texas. Let me know if you guys know where that is. How did you feel about him joining the military? I didn't have an option. My husband had already joined the military when I met him, so I didn't get a say. Where did your spouse go to boot camp? My husband went to boot camp in Chicago, which was kind of funny because this year he just hit his 10 years in the Navy. And this last year when we were PCSing, he had to go to school in Chicago for his new job. And so we were back there dead of winter, and he was like, I'm having flashbacks to boot camp. Moving on, has your spouse ever deployed? Yes, he has deployed multiple times. My husband is a submariner, so his first sea tour, we weren't together at that time, but he obviously was tied to a boat and deployed many times. Personally, the two of us together have gone through 2 deployments. Let's see. Number 8, have you ever been to his promotion ceremony? Unfortunately, no. COVID kind of killed that one. This last year, my husband made first, and he was quarantining in a hotel room due to travel and the schooling that he had to go to last December. And so his ceremony happened over like a FaceTime. So no, I did not get to attend, but hopefully in the future I will. Number 9, how long have you been a military wife? So like I said, we've been married 2 years, so I've been a military wife for 2 years, going on 3. Did you marry him before or after he joined? I already answered that one. I married him after he joined. How did your husband propose? Excuse me. So my husband proposed back home in his hometown in Texas. He actually took me to this place. It's this park called Landa Park. It's actually where his parents got married. So it's a very romantic little spot. My mother-in-law was there, and she actually surprised us. She had brought champagne flutes in her bag, and so we toasted and got to tell everyone in the family. It was a very romantic day. Moving on. Number 12, where did you and your husband get married? So we got married at my house that I grew up in. I grew up on property with a barn in the background. It was very, very small. Originally, it was supposed to be like our secret wedding, and we were planning on having a big wedding farther down the line, and that just didn't happen. One, we started planning a wedding, didn't feel like spending that much money on a wedding when we could be putting that towards something else, and I just wasn't enjoying the wedding planning process, and so that went out the window. And I'm actually grateful for it, because not long after that, everyone knows the whole COVID thing happened, and then a lot of weddings got canceled anyway, so I think it just would have been a nightmare if we would have been having to plan a wedding during that entire time. So smooth sailing. I am happy the way we got married. Let's see. How old were you when you got married? So we've been married, I gotta think on this, think about dates. 26 now, we've been married, 24? I think 24? I think I was 23 or 24. Did he wear his uniform on his wedding day? No. Honestly, I think that's kind of cheesy. It was kind of a casual, because we obviously thought we were having a big wedding farther down the line. I did wear a white dress, but he just wore my favorite pair of blue jeans on him, his cowboy boots, and a nice button-up shirt. Number 15, where are you and your spouse currently stationed? For those of you that watch my videos, you know that we are stationed overseas in Guam right now. So we are stationed on Naval Base Guam. Do you live on base? Like I said, for those of you that watch my videos, you know this to be true. Yes, we do live on base. I have a whole house tour video that I will link at the top corner if you are curious on checking that out and what it's like to live on base. How long were you married when you had to go through your first separation? We went through our separation before we were even married. We lived together before we were married, and so he deployed and I was just a military girlfriend at that time. And it's so much different being married, because you're in the loop when it comes to communication. When you are a military girlfriend, they could care less about you, and you are not in the communication loop. So if you are at a good command, and which my husband's was, it's a smaller command, they have people in the office who will check on you still, but typically when it comes to girlfriend, you are not in the loop about anything. And our first deployment together was probably over a year into being together. We moved in together probably about at a year. Our first deployment was probably about a year into dating. Number 18 is favorite base so far. So obviously we've only been stationed out of 2 bases. The first one being Bangor, Washington, which I grew up around, and I grew up in a military household, so I know it very well. And then obviously here in Guam now, I would probably say Guam, because it's the newest experience to us, and I feel like it's forced us out of our comfort zone. It's the first time I've had to really be away from family and really gain the independence, just the 2 of us, and I love being right next to the water, the beaches, so highly, highly recommend Guam. A lot of people don't want to come here because it's overseas and it's a small island, but I highly recommend it if you ever get the chance. Number 19, do you think your spouse looks good in his uniform? Okay, this is the dumbest question ever, because any woman ever loves a man in a uniform, and I mean, I find my husband to be the hottest man alive, so of course I'm gonna say yes, he looks good in his uniform. Duh. Number 20, do you think a military life is more advanced than a civilian life? I think that, no, I'd say no. Only, I mean, I agree that there's a lot more to balance. You have to deal with deployments and things like that. It's a lot harder to plan things. So in a way, it's more complicated than civilian life, but I think that there's jobs in civilian life that require travel and being away and things of that nature. So I really don't think it's that difficult. Granted, we don't have kids yet, so when he goes on deployments and stuff like that, it's easy because it's just me to take care of. I don't have to explain it to like a young child, so I'd say it's pretty equal right now. There are, like I said, some things that we have to deal with, but I think that it's a lot more drawn out than people make it to be. Number 21, do you like the benefits you receive as a military spouse? Just like the last question, I think this benefits of being a military spouse are very glorified. Honestly, the healthcare is nice. I definitely coming up with us expecting that process is very smooth, and I had a period of time when when my dad got out of the military and I got kicked. I turned 21 and wasn't going to school full time, so I got kicked off of the TRICARE, and so I was paying for my own health care, and it can get expensive. I had a incident where I fell while snowboarding and I racked up like a $900 emergency room bill, so it's definitely expensive on the other side. So the healthcare is nice, but honestly, when we lived back stateside, I didn't shop at the commissary really. We didn't go to the next because we had so many more options. Being in Guam, we shop at the commissary, so that's nice, obviously, to have that benefit. But that's only because it's like one of the only places to shop that's affordable. But yeah, back home, we never really even took advantage of the benefits really. So the benefits are nice. I'm not gonna say they're not, but I think they're glorified. Number 22, do you have a lot of military wife friends? No, not really. I have a couple here because we live overseas in Guam, so that's easiest to make friends with and whatnot, but not an outrageous amount, no. Number 23, what is the hardest part about military life? Obviously, the hardest part, I feel like a lot of people say this, is just the distance you have between you and your spouse because of deployments. And unlike civilian life, if your spouse has to travel, typically you can still talk on the phone with them. Being a submariner wife, you don't always get communication. They go dark. So probably the distance between you and your spouse and the travel that's involved. Number 24, do you own any military wife stuff? No. I'll be completely honest, I think I don't want to put Navy wife across the shirt. I think it's kind of cheesy. I do own sweatshirts and hoodies and t-shirts and stuff from my husband's command, but that's the extent of that. I'm not someone to display a military wife bumper sticker across my car. Number 25, the last question is, do you support your spouse as a member of the military? And I think this is kind of a dumb question too, because obviously I would support my husband in any endeavor he decided to venture on. So of course I'm going to support my husband and his career. So, and it always comes first. So that wraps up the 25 questions and the military spouse tag. Let me know what you thought below. Leave me a comment, thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more content. I post every Friday at 7 a.m. my time, which is Thursdays stateside, sometime in the day for you guys. But like I said, I will see you guys next Friday. Stay tuned for another video. Bye guys.